here lurking in the background. Okay, we're making sure some things, if you don't know yet, we're doing a lot on YouTube, which is like super fun for us. So we're also sharing this over on YouTube. So I'm making sure that that is good to go. And I think we're good. Tabby, if I have checked all the boxes, I'm going to record it so y'all can watch a replay. So there we go. Okay, happy Wednesday. I'm going to close some things so that I can get started with you guys. Hi from Michigan. Love it. Estonia. This is always like my favorite part, to be honest, is where everybody's from. The UK. So great. All right. So I'm going to share. You guys give me the thumbs up if you can see my screen. Argentina. I love it. Hola. I love it. Okay. Thumbs up. We're good to go. All right. So here's a few things that I love is I love trainings, but I also understand that we are all hardworking people. We all have businesses. You are deciding to spend an hour with me. I do not take that lightly. So I am sometimes a little bit of a fast talker. And that's mostly because I care about your time. I don't want to go super slow. I don't want this to be something where you're like, oh my gosh, she's droning on. So know that there will be a replay. You will be able to watch on YouTube. We will send you the link to everything afterwards. And there will be times where I stop that you can screenshot whatever it is I'm talking about. But if for some reason you're like, she is lightning fast, that is normally how I roll because nobody has time to waste. So that's just a little addendum for you. So we're going to talk about creating a Pinterest marketing plan for your business. I don't have any introduction slides in this, so I'm going to just not assume, but I'm going to say I am Kate All. I am the owner of Simple Pin Media. We are a Pinterest marketing agency. We've been doing this for over 10 years, which absolutely blows my mind. I cannot even believe it. But I am really, really passionate, probably in a weird way, about business owners using Pinterest effectively for their business, whether it's for our clients or whether it's for people who are DIYing or people who have a hybrid of DIY but want some coaching. So I just geek out on that. I love it. It's why I continue to do it. It's why I'm here still 10 and a half years later teaching about Pinterest. So we're going to walk away with some good tips, some tricks. And my hope is that you have a pathway at the end to figure out how to do this for yourself. Or I'm going to also present an option, our inner circle. I'm going to talk about that at the end, where it's kind of a combo of both. So that's going to be towards the very end. And I also want to tell you key elements of Pinterest marketing. Obviously, we know that social media is hard right now. Google is hard. I have very strong feelings about Gemini every single time I see it, because I know that for e-commerce sellers and creators, it changes the way search has been happening. So there's just been so many changes. So my hope is to give you hope and a strategy, because I know hope is not a strategy, to figure out how to do Pinterest. So that's what we're going to do. And Tabby says the awkward Tabby box underneath me is Tabby helping out. So there we go. Also, I do want to say this. Throughout, you can put any questions in the Q&A box. That is something we will visit at the end because I'm like a speed train going down the track. So we will get to Q&As at the end. I probably won't stop in the middle, but that's just to give you chat in the chat box, Q&A in the Q&A box. I figure we've all done this 100 times. We kind of know how things work, but I still want to give the ground rules. Okay, let's bring you all up to speed. Last Q2 2024, Pinterest had 522 million monthly users. The great part about this is that it is above pandemic levels. So Pinterest started over 14 years ago, and it is not the same as it was when it started. It's not the same as it was even during the height of the pandemic. It is growing, it is evolving, and it is changing. And frankly, Gen Z, I have Gen Z kids, it is their fastest growing demographic, but that does not mean if your demographic is millennial or Gen X or boomer even, that you can't target those generations. It's just a highlight that Pinterest says that Gen Z is growing. It is growing faster. So if that is your demographic, you better be on Pinterest. Pinterest is search and discovery. It does not want to be Instagram. It wants to remain the outlier. And actually, I would argue with this change in leadership they've had lately that they're getting better and better at recognizing we are not social. We are not a place where people doom scroll. We are a place that is interested in getting people connected to both your articles and the products that you sell. And they're interested in giving them an experience that is unlike any other platform, which I find refreshing. For us with our marketing, we use obviously Pinterest for Simple Pin Media marketing. I like that it's different because sometimes the grind of Instagram is just killing me slowly every single day. So I've used this phrase several times. If you've been a part of my community, you might be sick of hearing it, but I find that for those who are new or trying to frame up their marketing, it is a good way to establish kind of a foundation of how to separate the two between Pinterest and Instagram. Pinterest is like a library, Instagram is like a bar. Obviously, when you open up Instagram, it is happening. I am a heavy Instagram user. I don't know about you, but the comments are starting to suck me in more than actually the content is sometimes. And sometimes they're pretty gnarly. Sometimes they're nice. Sometimes who knows what you're going to get in the comments, which is why sometimes I get lost in it, but it's loud and it's moving and people are chatting. It is vibrant like a bar. And so if you're going to walk into a bar to market yourself, you're ready for the action, right? Like you have to be ready to engage. But if you are over on Pinterest, it's like a library. It's this quiet place. People walk in, they are like not interested in all this conversation. They have changed from I am interested in learning about you to I am interested in serving me. It's like a self-care platform. Maybe that's the new way we should look at it. Pinterest is calming. It very much wants to be a positive environment. It doesn't want to have anything to do with the political garbage, none of that. They're like, this is a place where we want you to discover. We want you to be able to leave Pinterest and say, I found this awesome thing on Pinterest. And it has always been that way. I remember a long time ago when I was first started using Pinterest, there was this crazy like camping hack that kept going around. And it was great. It was this thing like, yeah, this is genius. I think it was like a shoe organizer for putting all your stuff up around your camping kitchen or something like that. But that's how I want you to frame it up is that it is different. It's going to take longer, which we're going to talk about in a minute. And you don't always get feedback. You don't get this thing that says, oh, yeah, I love this, or I don't love this, or you're garbage, like you see on Instagram. It's a lot more calming. So, what are the essentials of Pinterest marketing in 2024? What do you need to do in order to be successful? So, I'm going to go through these high level. These are your non negotiables, and then I'm going to go deep on them. One is content, two is keywords, three is images. Okay, let's dive into those. Content. I feel like content these days takes on a lot of different meaning for people. In fact, I was on Threads the other day and somebody said, I hate the term content creator. And I was like, that's interesting. I hadn't heard that yet. They were like, I kind of like the distinguisher between blogger or blogging, which, was written content. But now I think we have podcasts, we have video, we have articles. All of this centered on your website is the number one way to grow on Pinterest. If you are using a third-party platform like Etsy or like Teachers Pay Teachers, it's going to be a little bit harder to create content. It is not a deal breaker, but as you evolve in your Pinterest strategy, having this content on your website for the Pinterest user to go to is key. And honestly, I've wrestled with this for a while, like trying to find a way to kind of soften the blow of you need content. And some people will come to me and say, I'm a shop owner. Creating content is really hard for me. And also there's a lot of new AI tools. Don't write all AI. Well, it's not good, but there's thankfully a lot of great tools to speed this up. But people think of content and they think it's going to be hard to write or it's going to be hard to create video. But those are the things that makes Pinterest work. You can repurpose some that's a little bit more nuanced and detailed from other social media like TikTok or Instagram, but people are ready to read. I think that's one of the things that you have to understand about the Pinterest user is that they are curious. They are the fact finders of the world. They are collecting products, they are collecting articles, they're collecting data to be able to make a great decision. So if you're not creating content, and I see this a lot, especially with people who have been blogging for a long time, is they are exhausted, they are burnt out, which I totally get. But those who create new content at least once a month, if you can do more, that's great. They will have better stats on Pinterest over time. Those who stop creating content, they tend to go down. Also, if you have a product that needs context, it needs more information, content is the greatest way to do it. So there's a lot more teaching I can do around content, but that is number one. You need something to warm these people up. And your content fuels Pinterest. If there was no content, there would be no Pinterest. And actually, you could probably argue that for everything on the web, right? If there was no content created, people would not know how to engage. But this is how you make money from affiliate marketing. This is how you make money warming people up to your products. This is how you get people on your email list. Pinterest is saying, we want you to put new content here. We want your content on our platform. Keywords. Pinterest is search and discovery, as I've said in the beginning. The algorithm works by figuring out what people are interested in and taking content and showing them to people. And so it works in two ways. The keywords get you in the main home feed. Like when you open up Pinterest, you see what's called the smart feed. Pinterest pulls things into that based on the user's interests and the keywords that they've used in the search bar, and also the keywords that are in your particular content. And then when people actually do a search, just like you see on the screen, when they look up healthy meal ideas for dinner, that gives Pinterest an indicator of this person is interested in this. We're going to go find content that solves that problem. So where do you go to find the keywords? There's two places right now that I would say are bar none some of the best. Trends, which we'll talk about on the next slide, and the search bar. Take a sip of water. Okay, keyword research. Trends, which, sorry, I thought it was on this slide. It's on the next one. So keyword research is essentially looking to see what keywords is a user using that they would find my type of content. An example I've used recently when we were at 2 food content creator conferences in the spring. And one of the examples that we pulled up from talking with people was sometimes people will use vegan and sometimes people will use plant-based. Those are 2 different types of searches on Pinterest. So if you're curious about what people might be searching to find your content, simply go to the search bar, go to Pinterest. I recommend on your desktop, but if you want to do it on your phone, that's totally fine. But when you search, you're going to be able to see these guided search bubbles that are on this picture on the right here. And that is going to show you what people are searching after you've put in the main pillar keyword of plant decor. I think that's what it is, or plant care. I can't see it. Plant decor. So that's going to give you all these images that Pinterest is populating for that particular word. You can then compare and contrast some of these images. You can see what products are coming up. You can even see what ads are being pulled up in this search. Get investigative about your keywords. Get curious about it. If you are new to Pinterest, this is a time where you want to create your keywords. Figure out which ones are going to work for you. If you are somebody who's been on Pinterest for a while and you've been using the same keywords over and over again, this might be a good time to revisit doing some of this keyword research simply on Pinterest. The next place is trends. This is a really great tool. If you have never used it before, you can find it by going to trends.pinterest.com. And what this tool tells you, and actually over like 16 countries, which is great for those of us who don't live in the US. There's lots of ways that you can target your people if you are in the UK or the Netherlands, lots of options. So, what I love about this is you can see when the searches for this particular keyword is highest. It's super cool because you can then go, okay, somebody is searching for backyard barbecue. I don't know what it, actually, I'll say Hatch chili. Right before I started this, I actually was playing around in trends and I saw that Hatch chili searches were up 1,000%. I don't know anything about Hatch chili. I've never even had it, but Pinterest on their trends page was telling me that this is going crazy. So if I am a food creator and I have some history with Hatch chili, might be a really good time to start getting it into the fold. But maybe you search Hatch chili and it is doing nothing in December or even January. There's just no searches for them. What this tool tells you is when those searches are happening, which is a gold mine for finding ideas. So if you're struggling with keyword research, go push the easy button. It's going to be the search bar and it's going to be trends. There's really great information. Set a timer, 30 minutes, whatever it is. Just go into it. So, where do you put your keywords? Here are the most important places that we recommend that you put any keywords that you've identified are important. We have our board title and we have our board description. Before anyone asks me, do not use hashtags. Hashtags do not belong on Pinterest. There's always these little things that pop every once in a while, and somebody says, I got an email from Pinterest and it had hashtags in it. I guarantee somebody forgot to take that out. Or somebody will say they're highlighting again. Don't use hashtags on Pinterest. Don't put them in the board description. Don't put them in the pin description. We're gonna put that there. So don't worry about it. You want to have natural sounding sentences. I hope by now, with doing any type of creation, whether it's on Google or whether it's even on Instagram or Pinterest, people want you to sound like a human, right? Not a robot, like plant care, how to propagate plants, and then you put the pipes in between. Don't do that. You want to just do natural sounding sentences. Then we have the pin title, and then we have the pin description, and we even have the pin copy. I'm going to talk about images in a second. A really important thing for you to understand is that Pinterest has a visual search tool. They read the words on the image. So if you create a Pinterest image that has a lot of words, a lot of detail, it feels confusing, that's not only going to confuse the end user, that's going to confuse the algorithm. Get very clear and to the point how to propagate plants. Here's the fun part. You can play around with your pin copy. You can create another image that has a different type of text on it. Go crazy with that. Now let's dive into images because I think these are the first thing that users look at. People don't read on Pinterest. They don't look below. Somebody did, I think it was my mom, actually. She did read. And I was like, oh, that doesn't matter, mom. Like, that's not for you. But most people are not like her. So images tell the first story, right? Like if you know it, we all know it. When we're scrolling through, it's the thing that tells us this is either what I want or what I don't want. Whether you are just looking in the home feed of Pinterest or people are searching in the search feed, it's like the thing that pops out. So I like to use this image in particular, any of these images here, because the text overlay, the pin copy, tells the story of the image. If you were scrolling through and this one on the right here that says you deserve this, maybe you took all that away and it's just a beautiful beach. There's really no incentive for you to click because you don't really know what it's about. But we can do something here that is maybe from a vacation brand that is going to book travel and it says book your adventure. You see this call to action there. You see this kind of like you deserve this, like, oh, what do I deserve? Okay, click. The one in the middle, we give that call to action or we give that pin copy, the top 10 travel outfits, because if you remove that, it can be seen in a ton of different ways. Same with the left, beaches to visit, West Coast edition. We're now giving more context to this picture, and we're even giving more context to beaches to visit. We're giving it a location. So these branding elements pull together this ideal image for Pinterest. Your logo and your website. Always avoid the bottom right corner. That is where that visual search tool hovers over on mobile. So it's covering your logo. Some people will do their .com, they'll just put it somewhere. I highly recommend you go logo. You can do your website if you want, but what I love about logo is this opportunity to create branding awareness. And if you are a new business owner and there's some thought in your head that's like, I don't need to create branding awareness, I'm small. Let's not think like that, because you never know how you will grow on Pinterest. You never know. And so you want to take this opportunity from the beginning to add this element of branding as your logo, as something that's recognizable. Obviously, photography is really key. It's got to be clear. It has to match. If you're using stock images, I think a lot of times I see, especially in the financial space, which is weird, I see a lot of confusing images that don't match what the topic is. So really get detailed as to what the topic is in your image. Like, could I understand it? Mostly. Like, can I get 90% of the way there with the image? Fonts are really important because obviously you're on a 5-inch screen or 6-inch screen. You need to be able to read it. Pinterest is very easy to do marketing on your desktop. I'm on my desktop right now. I have like a 24-inch screen. If I was to create all my images on here, I'm in Canva. They're probably bigger. Even I can see them bigger. Go look at them on a phone. If you have not ever done that, that is my I have a few calls to action today for you, but that is one of them, is go look on your phone. If you've never done that, can you read the font? And granted, I'm a little bit old and I've got some readers, but some people are using really, really small font. People can't read unless you don't want someone like me to read it and you want to keep it small. That's fine too. Colors. We've infused the colors here of our brand simply in the lines and then around the outside of the box. It's important for you to always include your colors. If you're trying to figure out your branding, if you're trying to figure out your flow of your Pinterest image, that's okay. Just keep creating. Here's the main elements every pin should have. It's 2 to 3, 1000 by 1500. It is a vertical image. Some people ask about going longer. I don't recommend that. I recommend 1000 by 1500. Canva, where most people create, it's already built in for you. Logo in a very tasteful place, or your website URL if you want to, especially if your URL is, if you're a nonprofit or you have a .net or a .co, it might be helpful to put that there. But if you're a .com, you don't really have to worry about that. Text overlay and messaging is really important, and your calls to action. Text or no text. People still wonder about this. Mostly, I would say those who are really passionate about their photos and photography. I like text. I think text gives context, with the exception of home decor, because home decor, I find that people want to see the whole image unless you're doing a roundup, like the top 10 pillows for fall or something like that. But if you were talking about a paint color or a kitchen design, I find that most of those don't need text. So you have to play around with that if you're in the home decor space and see what works. That's where analytics comes into play. We're not going to talk about analytics today, but that is where you really get the data. 2 bonus tips for you. How many times to pin per day? I'm going to take a sip of water. Okay. If you are in this class and you have been like really eager for me to answer this question, I'm going to say 2 things. 1, it depends. And 2, if you have not worked on the 2 things that I just talked about, or the 3 things, content, keywords, and images, if you have not nailed your images, number 1, if you have not put time into really like upping your game, this is the wrong question to be asking. Because I find that people who do really good at keyword research, they do really good at creating content, and they do really great at creating great images, this doesn't even matter. There is no hard and fast rule of how many times per day. We have clients that do 30. We have clients that do 5. I do 10, but I've done 1 and I've done 25. I've played around with that, but my foundations aren't in place to where I can play around with that. I can figure out, all right, Tabby works with me on our account. I'm like, Tabby, let's try 25 a day. Let's just go crazy, right? Then the next month, maybe we go down to 2 per day because we're playing around with it. But I am creating content every single week. I have a podcast that goes out every single Wednesday. I'm also creating YouTube videos. Those podcasts are converted into blog posts. Number 2, I am looking at my images. We're evaluating for colors. We're evaluating for people's faces. We're doing the deep dive on that. And we're doing a deep dive on keywords. So I guess, I don't know if you want to call it encourage. It's not encouragement. I don't know the word for it. But if you've not done all of those things, and this is the question that you think is going to make or break your Pinterest strategy, I'm sorry, it's not. This is not the one make or break. I want you to put that aside, go work on some things and be consistent. That is important. If you're like, I'm going to stick with 5 pins per day for the next 6 months, you're rocking it. Like, there's your marketing plan of how many times per day you're going to do. That's part of it. You're going to crush it. Next is pin scheduling. We get this question a lot too. So this is why I'm putting these 2 questions here, because it's usually the number ones that come up. We use Tailwind. I've used Tailwind since 2015. We have tried other ones. There's great ones out there. In fact, somebody said they loved Canva the other day. There's Planoly. There is Buffer. We are using Metricool. It doesn't matter. Whatever pin scheduling tool you want to use, whether it's you want to pick up your phone and you're going to do it today or not, that is great. The thing that matters is the consistency part. The thing that matters is the content, the keywords, and the images. Those are the things that matter. So do the thing that makes you efficient and consistent. Some people like the Pinterest native scheduling tool. It is like one of their favorites, which I love that. If you came to me and you're like, I love Canva, this is what this person said on Threads to me. They're like, I love Canva. It's so efficient for me. Winner, you win. Like, that's awesome, but it's not efficient for me. We don't love it. I like Tailwind. So there you go. Not a deal breaker. It's not a non-negotiable. You can either take it or leave it. Be consistent. I've said it a couple of times, but I'm going to kind of reiterate it again. Pinterest does take a while. If you've been on Pinterest since 2015 and you're sitting in this class and you're like, I'm coming back, I need to figure out where Pinterest is at. Pinterest has changed so much, but being consistent hasn't. So knowing that you're going to invest in Pinterest over the next 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, that is where you really get a lot of lift. Also, Q4 is a really great time on Pinterest. It's great for product sellers. It's great for content creators. In fact, it's when a lot of people start using it again. Some people come to us and they say, it's, end of June, beginning of July. And they're like, Kate, my traffic from Pinterest is just in the tank. And I'm like, well, do you spend a lot of time online right now? Are you going on vacation? Are you doing all these different things? And they're like, yes, that is a lot of probably your demographic. So now when we get into August, people are back. And that's great. It's like why we're all ready to organize. And I mean, my kids haven't started school yet, but I'm ready. And so I'm ready to get a plan. And that is the same with your Pinterest audience. So I'm going to walk you through something here. I love this little participatory thing. Get out a piece of paper. And, or unless you're really good at just doing this on your own, but this is how you know where you need to focus your time. So I talked just a second ago about, how many pins per day. And I kind of backed you up into, if you haven't worked on these keywords, content, images, you got to work on it. So that's what we're going to talk about here. So this is something my friend Natalie Gingrich does. She has the Ops Authority. She walked me through this even in something in my own business. And it was like transformative. Put this on a piece of paper. It's a super great rubric. So you have working, not working, missing, confusing, right? We're thinking about, where am I at with my Pinterest strategy? How am I doing? So number 1, What's working for you? I want you to celebrate the wins. I want you to put in that box what you're like, I'm actually crushing it at images. I'm doing a great job. I'm going to tell you right now, I would never be the person to write that in there. I would probably be crushing it at looking at the data, figuring out the patterns. Like I'm doing pretty good at that. And then not working, write in here what's not working for you. It's like I have tried keywording and I have tried searching, and I just cannot wrap my brain around how to create a keyword bank or how to really figure out what keywords my people are targeting. It feels so confusing, but I'm crushing it in images. Missing. For a lot of us, it is a plan, it is direction. You feel like it, I just don't know which way to go. I don't know why I'm using Pinterest. I don't even know if my people are, I'm confusing. It's not confusing yet because we're going to get to that in a second, but I am missing my plan. I'm missing my direction. And then what's confusing? And some people might say it is scheduling. I don't get it. There are a lot of people that need a schedule. They need, I would like to know pin A, pin B, pin C, which boards do they go to? It's just going to help my brain. I am not that type of person. I would drive y'all crazy because I can look at my Tailwind queue and I can be like, okay, let's do blah, blah, blah. So confusing for me might not be scheduling, but confusing for me might be have my keywords changed. I kind of don't know where my target is. I feel like I'm not getting in front of the right people. It feels confusing. Or some of you might say, I'm confused because everybody else seems to know what they're doing with Pinterest and I don't. And so everybody else has a plan, but not me, which I would argue probably everybody else doesn't have a plan, but we all are just kind of, some are guessing, right? But we want to figure out how to make you not confused anymore. So this is your rubric here. This is to help you identify the missing pieces in your Pinterest marketing, which I would argue helps you create the plan, helps you figure out what you do need to do going forward. I think Pinterest marketing is the key to traffic and sales for your business in 2024. I do not believe that means giving up on Instagram, giving up on TikTok, or any other of your favorite marketing platform. I believe it means you add it, or maybe you already have it, but now you level up how you're going to use it. That's a really important thing for this platform to be an arm of search and discovery, of cold traffic. It is people who don't know you. They need more time to get to know you, but that's a really critical part of business growth. I would argue, and I shared this in the beginning about the 522 million monthly users. I probably, having studied Pinterest for the last pretty much 12 years, I would argue that they're in a new place of understanding their identity, helping people create space to curate their own life, and helping be a platform where people are not doom scrolling. And I love that they've grabbed a hold of that instead of maybe during the pandemic, they were trying to be TikTok with their idea pin thing and they were trying to do all these things. But now they're like, this is who we are. We're going to stand on this plot of land and we are going to be invested in positivity. We are going to be invested in people shopping and getting informed about things that they want to read or do or plan or dream into their lives. And we are here to help you with that. So I'm going to tell you about a program that we have that we created last early spring, I believe it was, because we wanted to help people get their own plan to where they could walk away and say, I know exactly what I'm doing with Pinterest. Everything feels confident to me and I know how to change it. I know how to pivot. I know how to do all of these things with Pinterest, even hand it off to somebody in the future. But I know, and I'm confident. And actually, I just talked to somebody who went through our program who said that exact same thing. It's our Simple Pin Inner Circle. So let me tell you a little bit about it. It is the combination of a course, a mastermind, and education and basically live meetings. Like it's bringing it all together, but in a strategic way that walks you through 6 weeks of key steps that we've done with our clients. So when we see clients who are maybe they don't have a plan or they're new to Pinterest, we run them through what we call the accelerator. Our team is essentially doing everything for them, from analytics, from building a keyword bank to building an image template strategy to building a pinning strategy. Pin A goes here, pin B goes here, to where you have everything set and ready in this. We do this for our clients. And so I wanted to take this and say, okay, there's people out there who probably can't afford to hire us, but there are people who want to figure out how to do it for themselves. So what if we take all these steps and we put it together sequentially and we give them a guide to walk through this roadmap to where they end up on the other side confident and saying, I got it. I don't need anything else. I don't really need any more courses in the future. I don't need any of that. I have a plan and I know exactly what I'm doing. So our first round of Inner Circle members, this was our beta round. We took people through it and we said, we're going to have you walk through this. Give us our feedback. How does it go? What are you struggling with? How can we really help solve your problem? And one of them was consistency. Consistency is hard for people, which I get, because a lot of people are really struggling with how to create a plan. And just like here with Marley, she's like, this gave me the opportunity to be consistent and it supported the process. I love this from Dee Dee. She had even a couple Pinterest accounts that she was working on, but she understood analytics and best practices, and she had an actual strategy. That is key too. Like she could be one of those people that you walk up to on the street and you're like, hey, do you have a Pinterest strategy? And she's like, yes, I totally know what I'm doing. So I would say the Inner Circle is good for people who are DIYers. And some people are good for hire it out, and some people need a coach. Some people just need to walk through this whole process with them. And that's what it is. It's not me saying, here's all the things you need to do. It is, here's all the things you need to do, but here's my team. And we're going to walk with you. We're not going to leave you confused. We're not going to leave you at the end of 6 weeks going, I'm still confused. Nope. We're going to walk with you through the whole process. Here's another thing that I really care about: experience shares. I believe passionately in when you are in a group, and this is a small group coaching, you're in a group with other people. I don't want people to say, oh, you should do this or you should do that. I believe some of the most powerful business advice for you is people who have done it before. So that's what you get. You get my team. You get people who have worked with tons of different accounts and said, this has worked for this particular account. Let's try this. Or this hasn't worked for this account. I don't recommend that you try this. And so that's a really important thing that we've curated in this group, because I've been a part of groups before. And even actually one of my recent podcast guests said she was in a mastermind for Pinterest and somebody told her to do something and it like tanked her traffic. And so she went back to what she knew. She went back to just finding her own way that was working for her. And I don't want to be the group that ever sets somebody on that path. So we're heavily curated around this is experience. This is not, you should do this, because we don't need any more of that. So bringing together knowledge, support, and expert Pinterest advice. So here's what's included over these 6 weeks: connection, an account cleanup and build, developing a strategy and a pin design, assessing and auditing, and then really finalizing with your whole plan. So let's walk through it. Week 1 is connect. We're just going to connect with the team, get to know you, get to know your branding, and you're going to get to know your fellow members. This is in a Slack group. This is not in a Facebook group. So I know some people get worried about Facebook groups. I do. I love them or hate them. They're there, but we put it into Slack. We like the organization of it. We like how we can drip out the content. You'll see other members. You can communicate with our team. It's such a great tool. The 2 team members that are going to walk through with you are Sarah and Emily. Sarah is a longtime account specialist with Simple Pin Media, and she is our team. She's like our team manager. She is in the weeds all the time. She's worked with several different types of accounts. She is someone that I go to when I'm like, Sarah, have you tried this? Here's my theory. Here's all these things. She is on it. Emily's also worked as an account specialist for Simple Pin for years. She does several cleanups. She does tons and tons of audits all the time, and she consults with our clients. Also, such a huge wealth of knowledge. So, in that first week, too, we're going to have you complete a branding form. The reason we do this is we want you to stop and go, what are my goals? What's my general understanding of my brand? Now, even if you don't have everything solidified, we want you to fill this out for us and for you so that we know about your brand. We can pull from information about like clients that we've worked with, but we can really help you define your goals for the upcoming year with Pinterest. It's kind of like this baseline. Then we do a kickoff call where we meet everybody. I join that, say hello, all those things. It says it's really that first week. We want to outline the roadmap. We want to let you know what's going to happen. And we want you just to meet Sarah and Emily and be like, okay, these are the people who are going to guide me. It's a good connection point. Week 2, assess and audit. So this is where we're going to show you how to do an audit on your account. This can feel really overwhelming at first. In fact, our first cohort, we kind of did it all at once, but our second cohort, we dripped this out so people would not feel overwhelmed. That's another thing. We take feedback from every group that goes through this. It's really important to us that when you do an account audit, you're able to do it in a way that actually like you're a little bit removed from it, which is why you can tap our team to kind of help you give a perspective or look at your account to give feedback. Because we might look and go, there's nothing wrong, but somebody might look and go, you might need to change that up. We can also help you with some tech connections. We'll give you resources for low-cost tech people. This is especially important for those who are connecting your shop. If you have a Shopify store or WooCommerce or getting the verified merchant program, we go through that as well. And keywords. Keywords is really important in week 2 to establish your keyword bank, because we want to have you start with a certain amount of keywords that you're going to target so that you know in this keyword bank, I targeted this in Q4 of 2024. Now in Q1 of 2025, we might change them up later. It feels like a busy few weeks, and it is, but there will always be time to catch up. We build this in there. Week 3 is clean up and organize your Pinterest account. We give you a full detailed PDF as to how to do that. I actually have been cleaning up Pinterest accounts since we started. It was one of the very first things that we offered. We've iterated on over the years. We know how to teach you how to do it. Week 4 is mastering images and even video pins. Like I talked about, images are key. So we're going to provide you with actually 5 templates in Canva to get your creative juices flowing. And actually, I would say this is one of the funnest times of the Simple Pin Inner Circle, because people get to give feedback and people get to say, adjust this, don't write this, do these things. It's a good refinement time for your images. And a lot of times we need that feedback. We need people to be able to say, well, we need to be able to receive it, I guess I would say. So you're welcome to drop any new creations in the Slack channel, and we're going to give you feedback on that. Then we're going to do kind of, we call it a working Q&A call. And it's basically where any questions that you have, you show up to this call and ask them live. And Sarah and Emily help you walk through the answers to those questions. They help you work through anything that's left unfinished. If you're like, I am stuck on auditing my account, we help get you through that. So we don't want anybody to be stuck anywhere in this process. Week 5 is pinning. I feel like week 5 should be just titled magic. This is where it all comes together. We have so many aha moments about pinning during this time. We go deep into pin scheduling, how we do it, how you can not spend hours and hours and hours of all of this. You can share screenshots of your Tailwind queue. You can test out other scheduling tools. Sarah has tested a lot of them. And I would say our members over and over took out so much from this time. Final week, week 6, is strategy and really wrapping it all up. This is where we tie up loose ends. We don't want you at all to leave this group still feeling confused. So this is where we try to make sure that all of that comes up together and you have a plan, that you get to week 6 and you're like, Amanda McKinney, who just went through it last cohort, she said, I got to week 6 and I've never felt more confident in my Pinterest plan. Like I got it. And now I know what to do. I can at least keep it for myself, or I can hand it off to somebody else, but I know that this is mine. And that brings me the greatest joy because that is our goal. Our goal is to help you get fully up and running with Pinterest and your Pinterest plan in 6 weeks. And I believe to do this, you need accountability, you need experience, you need knowledge to get all the Pinterest marketing you need in a short amount of time to be done. I'm not interested in a course living in your email inbox for ages. I'm not interested in you buying little things left and right. Like, we really care about getting you what you need in this program to where you can walk away like Amanda McKinney and say, I got it. It makes sense to me. Why us? Why Simple Pin Media? Why are we the ones to get to lead you through this process? One, data. We have 10 years of working with thousands of Pinterest accounts. And we're not teaching what worked for one person. We're teaching what has worked for many. We're not guessing if it will work. We know how to troubleshoot. We know how to do these different things. We have a lot of data behind it. We can say accounts like this normally do this, or accounts like that normally do this. We see it all the time, which leads into experience. Our team knows what to do at the drop of a hat when something's not working. They know how to troubleshoot analytics. They know how to trust and try new things because they've done it with so many different accounts and they're ready to do it with you. And they can walk into a situation and say, these are the things that I want you to try. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Community is big. I am a community-minded person, and we have a community-minded company. I really do believe a rising tide lifts all boats. And we want to do that for you. We want to create a community inside the Simple Pin Inner Circle where you feel like we are rooting for you. We want you to succeed. And we want everybody else in the group to succeed. And we want everybody else in the group to want everybody to succeed. It's a big deal for us. So does it work? This is one of the actual numbers from a recent accelerator who went through our program. So this is, again, the exact same steps that we do in the Inner Circle. And we see a bump in these beginning 6 weeks of just people making these strategic changes. Obviously, it's like weight loss, results are not typical. So you need to know that. But our goal is increase, increase, increase. Does it always happen right away? No. But at least you have a plan to be able to continue to develop an increase as you go into the future. Our clients spend $3,000 on this accelerator package. It is a big investment. Some clients don't have the time to invest in learning, so they choose this. The Inner Circle is not $3,000. It is 20% of that cost. We are offering the Inner Circle for $697 when you join before September 4th. You can pay in 2 payments over the 6 weeks, or you can pay all at once. So I'm going to give you some dates. One is you have to join before September 4th. We move as a group. This is not open all the time. We do cohorts. This is our 3rd cohort. We start on we end this sales period ends on the 4th, and then we start on the 9th. So we all move through the curriculum as a unit, which is why we close the doors to this on the 4th. Our goal is 15 to 20 people. That's what we cap it at. We don't want any more than that. And that's because we find that after you get so many people, it's really hard to teach and give the attention that everybody needs. I want to be clear on this, that if you want to join the program, and Tabby, you can actually drop the link right now. It's simplepinmedia.com/IC. I'll put that on the next slide. But I want to be clear on this. You do have to have 2 to 4 hours per week to work on the tasks. This is not an easy, just like one and done. But if Pinterest is the thing that you want to lean into hard this year, let's get it done in the 6 weeks, and then you can launch from there. So I'm clear on it takes time. Like, 2 to 4 hours per week to work on these is important. If your Pinterest account, your images, your keywords, your strategy need help, this program is for you. If you're new to Pinterest and you have no idea what you're doing, this program is definitely for you. If you're coming back to Pinterest after all these years and you're like, I don't even know what's going on Pinterest, this is for you. Or you have taken a ton of courses, you have never completed them, and you're like, I want to be done with that. I'm not buying anymore. I just want to get a plan. This is for you. So, like I said, we have 20. We actually now have 19. So, we've already sold one to our waitlist people. There are people that join our waitlist for later cohorts. And so, people have already joined. September 4th is the date when the doors will close. And then our first inner circle meeting starts on the 9th. So, if you want to join us, go to simplepinmedia.com/IC. But I want to say this first before I answer any questions. A lot of people ask me, like, what can I expect after the inner circle? Here's what you can expect: a fully optimized Pinterest account, Pinterest images that get clicks, a keyword game plan optimized for Pinterest search, a pinning strategy that actually works and doesn't take you hours and hours, and a 2024 Pinterest marketing plan tailored to your business. And I would add one that's not here, but I would say confidence. Confidence that you're doing the right thing with Pinterest, that you don't have to look in Facebook. You can go into Facebook groups, but if somebody says, so and so in this group said this, you can say, I know what works. And that is the key to a business owner that understands the marketing plans for their business. They are not swayed by what somebody else says. They know, they're like, this works for me. And I can eventually pass this off because Pinterest is so successful that my business is growing that I can hire somebody. Obviously, that's the dream that we hope for you. But if you keep this all in your, like you're doing it, this is a win-win for you, because now you know how to troubleshoot. Now you know how to audit. Now you know how to assess. It's all there for you. I really love the inner circle. I've loved the teams that have gone through before. Not, I call them a team. I would say you kind of become a team. The groups that have gone through have had such great success, and that confidence marker is huge for us. So I'm going to leave this up here, simplepinmedia.com/IC. I'm going to take a drink of water. If you're interested in joining, remember September 4th is the date. We will send out an email to you with a replay of this call and a link to buy the inner circle. But I'll say this to kind of close before I answer any questions. I have heard over and over from people who have bought courses, and they come to me and they say, I feel like I didn't learn anything. And I get that. I get that. I buy a course because it sounds really, really good. And then it sits there. I have this email marketing course that I'm sure is amazing. I have never opened it. So as I reflected on that for myself, I thought, how can we create something that actually helps people do it? And it's where we're working together, where we have the accountability, where I would actually do something with email marketing. If someone said to me, you have 6 weeks and I'm going to guide you through it, I'm like, okay, I'm going to set aside the next 6 weeks and I'm going to do this because I never want to think about buying another email marketing course again. I want to just get to the heart of what I need to know. That's what I took into creating Inner Circle, because I thought I would want that for me. So I am sure somebody else wants that as well. I'll answer some questions, but I'll say this as well. Thank you for your time. Like, I don't take that lightly. I know that you have been crushing it and you have just been doing all the things. So thank you for spending this hour with me. Okay, I'm going to answer a few here. I won't get to all of them. I apologize already in advance. But we keep track of your questions. I just want you to know that every single time we do a live, like, your struggles, your pain points, your questions are so important to us, because then I can create podcasts or videos or any of these things. Eliza, you said, is there a tool that can give us an idea of search volume on Pinterest for various keywords? I just interviewed somebody yesterday about this. It's coming out in the podcast in a little bit. I actually haven't used the tool. It's called PinClicks. I know people are talking about it, but I talked to the software developer. He had some good things to say, but I mean, I think Tabby's messed around with it a couple times. It kind of has potential. So I would say Trends, though, and even he said Trends is such a fantastic tool that Trends is going to be the way to go. Let's see. Okay, Jessica, I'm a graphic designer and mostly sell physical products. I don't do any paid marketing right now. I have no idea even where to start. Pinterest is constantly reaching out to me, but I'm not sure if it makes sense for my business. Help. Okay, Jessica, number one, Pinterest is reaching out to you because they want you to do paid marketing. Totally makes sense. But I would not do any paid marketing on Pinterest until you have a place to start. This is where you start. If I was having to create a Pinterest strategy from scratch and build something, this is where I would start for that, especially if you're selling physical products and you're a graphic designer. You know all of this, but just know Pinterest is reaching out because they want you to spend some cash. Don't do that yet. You can definitely lean into it later, but getting your plan set up, getting your target market, who is your avatar, what are your keywords you're going to target before you lean in. So I really hope you would join the inner circle. That is how we can help you. And Pinterest, depending on the physical products that you sell, I think most can fit. I will often tell people there's two things I would say don't work on Pinterest: financial advice for old guys, and meaning like over 60, and then local businesses that only have a local component to them. So other than that, it's really good to go. Great question here. Do I need to remove hashtags from older posts? No, don't worry about them. Just leave them there. Just don't do them going forward. Let's see. Does the board description also need to sound natural sounding language? Yeah, I always defaulted natural sounding language. That is one of the best. Let's see. Answered that one. Let's see. Can we change the URL for links on old posts that aren't accurate anymore? If you have done a rebrand or now you have a different website, if you set up a redirect, which most people have, you don't have to worry about that. Just leave them in the past. You're good to go. Let's see. Somebody says, why not schedule on Pinterest? I love scheduling on Pinterest. I think it's awesome. So schedule away. I think it's amazing. There's a lot of questions. So I'm scrolling through this right here. We'll do like 2 more minutes. Should services market differently on Pinterest than products? Absolutely. Because one, when you have products, you can market both the image and the lifestyle image, and you're targeting in a different way. When your services, and here's another thing, if you're business to consumer or business to business, those are 2 different as well. So depending on who your target market is, you're marketing differently. And when I say marketing differently, you're looking at the target that you're going for. The keywords, the images, the content, those remain pillars, right? Those are always going to be there. But what you choose to put in that obviously is going to be different. If you are a service provider like me, my marketing is business to business. So I'm trying to answer questions for people who are struggling with how to get a Pinterest marketing strategy. Whereas if I'm selling products like a candle, I'm leaning in more to different types of topics, obviously with business to consumer. So I think that gets me like thinking the main marketing pillars don't change, but the messaging changes. How's that? Let's see. Oh, this is fascinating. Matthew, we found that our customers are more likely to place orders on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Sundays. Is there a strategy for Pinterest that supports that order characteristic? Not really, because Pinterest is not time-based. So if I pin something today, then somebody might not see it for a week or 2 weeks or even 6 months. So adding stuff every single day is key. I love that you came up with that. Okay, we're wrapping up here. It is 11 o'clock. We have all the questions. There's a lot of good ones. The program starts on September 9th. If you go to that page, simplepinmedia.com/IC, it's really long. I mean, not so long that you're going to get bored, but it has all the details. So go ahead and read that whole page. If you have any questions, Simple Pin Media or hello@simplepinmedia.com is our email. Open book, open door all the time. And then that's pretty exhaustive. So you can see the dates of all the calls. You can see the dates of when we start, when we end. You can see the breakdown of each week, which is really important. Last, thank you so much for joining me again. I really, really appreciate it. And yes, the Slack channel is open now. So when you join, Everything will happen and we'll get you in Slack. Obviously, tech is slow sometimes, so give us about 24 hours. But if you join and you don't get a Slack invite, please, please, please let us know, because we want to get you into um, the Slack channel. The Slack channel is so fun. I love Slack. And Slack is very easy to use on your phone and on desktop. So if you have never used it before, just know it's going to take you maybe about a couple hours and then you're good to go. I have 7 Slack channels on my phone and I love it. And yes, this was a question. The next cohort won't be until early 2025. Obviously, no one wants to be learning Pinterest in the middle of their holiday season. So again, simplepinmedia.com/IC. Tabby put it in there. And yeah, I'm so excited that you were here. So thank you for joining me. And everybody,